It's one thing to have a brilliant idea. It's another thing to translate that idea into something tangible, something people can see, identify with. It's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to brand that idea, make that idea solve problems, be innovative. Welcome to L&E TV. We're talking about enterprise. We're running a number of series on startup entrepreneurs who are causing change in Africa, causing change in their communities through whatever initiatives that they have. My name is Essien. I'm delighted to be with you today, and I'll be talking with you today about someone who is exciting, someone who I met recently, and who will be sharing his entrepreneurial journey with us. Let's make welcome on set this afternoon, Mr. Francis Jerome.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so Francis Jerome is the CEO of Capital Bridge Microfinance Bank. Tell us about your journey, how you started, what inspired you to start a microfinance bank.
Thank you. Some years back, actually, in 2010, I had an idea, basically to create change in my environment, because I saw that so many things weren't going right for petty traders, for business people, and I realized that people had ingenious ideas, but they didn't have access to funding, and it was a huge challenge. So my thoughts were, how do I bridge this gap? How do I create an ecosystem of a financial nerve center where people can come in and have access to capital to do businesses? And so that was how Capital Bridge was born. And initially we started with less than $100. Yes, we started with less than $100 in 2010. And over the years, it has actually grown and evolved. We've had our fair share of challenges, really, because entrepreneurship without challenges, I think, is not entrepreneurship. You must envisage challenge, you must prepare for challenge, and you must set the parameters in which you can use in dealing with any challenge that may arise. You know, of course, we've had series of challenges. We've lost money, we've lost human capital, we've lost opportunities, and don't forget, when we started, I had zero experience in finance. I had zero experience in banking. I had no practical experience at the workplace. So I didn't really know what it meant by setting up a company, designing processes, managing people, managing resources. So
what was that motivational drive, that made you say, okay, I'm going to start and learn along the way?
This is what happened. In 2010, when the idea came, like I said, I didn't have any experience. But you know, when as a young man you're passionate, you have this vision, you have this idea that is burning, you want to see it work, you want to see yourself achieve great things. So I started to do a lot of research, actually, and started reading lots of books, started talking to people, and as at the time, Google was really my friend. So I had to utilize that channel and downloaded lots of materials, and then I also worked with a couple of people that I knew had some ideas in the industry. You know, of course, it wasn't easy to keep them because I didn't have the resources to be paying them and all that. So it was just them coming once in a while to share information, share resources, and then go back. So, but I think, you know, in the midst of knowledge capital and in the midst of experience, you need God. You need God to keep you sane and help you go through periods of crisis, periods of of uncertainties. So I didn't know much, but God helped me. The little I could have access to, the little information I could have access to, I could leverage on those information and use it to my own advantage.
Do you have anybody, any person, any mentor you could really look up to in that area in your industry?
Yes, I was looking up to somebody, but I had never met him as at the time. I'd never met him. I only heard about the man. I started researching about the man. He's the CEO of Lapo, so and Mr. Godwin Egamosoy. So what I did, because he was in Nigeria, but I also had someone who was also a bigger mentor, who is in the person of Professor Mohammed Yunus, who had started microfinance in Bangladesh.
Did he start the concept of microfinancing? Because there's so much said about Mohammed Yunus.
He brought about the revolution in the microfinance sector. He brought about the group lending methodology. Yes, he pioneered that work, and then so from that point, other institutions came on board and then began to experiment and saw that it was working. And so, because the poor, in the real sense, don't really have access to collaterals to access credit. So the idea of group lending is to excuse your collateral, excuse the need for collateral.
Okay.
So you co-guarantee yourselves in a group, in a cluster group, and access funding to be able to do business individually and then repay back as a group. So that methodology has helped to change the face of microfinancing across the world.
Wow.
Yes. So, and then when Capital Bridge started, we had to drive our vision, drive our services, drive our products on that premise, on that group lending methodology.
So you started with $100, but of course you have grown. How did you get capitalization as you grew? Did you get new funders, new investors to give you funds, or you use customers' monies to keep funding your business? How did you move your business from that $100 investment to something big? Today we have seven branches with a number of staff. How were you able to grow it from $100?
Microfinance is a dynamic business, and sometimes having access to funding, especially in this part of the world, is really, really difficult. So one of the key things that you have to do as a microfinance practitioner is to think of how you can innovate.
Okay.
One, you need to develop products. If you don't have products that will enable you to generate cheap funds to on-lend, then you're going to have a bit of a problem. Of course, we have funding channels through central bank. We have also funding channels through multilateral organizations.
So central bank gives money.
Central bank can give you loans.
Okay. Give microfinance banks loans.
Yes, they do. They can give you soft loans to on-lend.
Okay.
Okay, but you need to build capacity. They don't just give to every microfinance institutions.
Okay.
You need to have capacity to be able to access the loan, lend it, and then repay back. And then you can also have funding from IFC, International Finance Corporation. You can also have funding. You can also get grants from other institutions to use and develop the rural economy. But of course, one of the things too that we did when we didn't have what it takes to access credit from, for instance, central bank, is we had to develop products that could help us get savings from our members and from customers too. So one of the things we did was to develop innovative products. So those products helped us in terms of liquidity.
Okay. So for example, you can have customers keep money with you for 1 year, 6 months, and then get a little interest on top of it.
Yes, yes, you, you can.
Unique products.
Those are unique products you can.
So you can have
develop.
sources of, you can have funds for
and then yes, and then one of the key things that helped us in terms of getting cheap funds was when we introduced a particular loan product that was interest free. Yes, the loan product was actually interest free, and you know, every business person wants to access credit that he wouldn't need to pay either high interest or any interest at all. So we thought about it. We worked on the psychology of our customers, and then we talked to people, we did research, and we discovered that, okay, if we give you product A without an interest, what would you do? How would you appreciate such product? And then from their input, we were able to develop a particular product, you know, that we were able to extend credits to people, interest free.
And so if you're just joining us, we've been speaking to the CEO of Capital Bridge Microfinance Bank on L&E TV Enterprise Edition. I'm sure you learned a few things. Thank you, sir, for coming.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you.